Okay, that was season 1, episode 15 of Spy Family. Why does every show have emotional episodes?
I mean,
it irks me.
I'm glad for it. I appreciate it.
I'm like, God, I'm always crying nowadays. Like,
thank you for this. It's very good.
It was beautiful. It was amazing.
I can't be upset when shows make
when
me
they showed me
emotional.
Bond, I was gonna say Borf. When they showed me Bond's memories of what happened, I hope that's memories and not future.
That sucked. Oh, that had to be memories.
I'm like,
oh, that would be terrifying if
I
it was
know.
future.
That was awful to watch.
So I guess we can start off with key points of how our family are the best at handling situations with protecting people while also protecting the peace and protecting animals.
Yeah.
We have Lloyd, he shoots precision shots the bomb off of the dog into the river and then lets the dog bite him because he already was prepared with this suit.
He shot the straps off of a dog. For that to be okay, I know a thing or two about harnesses on dogs in order to get them to walk, If you have a harness that is too tight, the dog's not going to be comfortable to go on a walk, especially if it's something like as big as this mission. Like if you're trying to take a dog on a hike, it needs to be a comfortable, good-fitting harness. If it's too loose, they can get out. If it's too tight, they're not going to want to do it. So in order to have a well-fitting harness, it's like a watch, you want to have it just right. It's going to be so hard and difficult to be able to shoot off that band that is that close to the body. And kudos to my man Lloyd. He did it without, there was no grazing, nothing. He did it. And like you said, he was prepared with the chain mail or whatever so he could handle the dog bite too. It was fantastic.
And then we have no civilians around at the time that Yor sees the car, recognizes that it is a terrorist. And yes, she thinks Anya might be in the car at the time, but still, there's no one around really on the streets. And when she jumps on the car and it goes and hits a light post, no casualties. No one ran screaming out of the way of the car.
She didn't even jump on the car. She just
yeah, she jumped down and then she kicked the car.
Sweet chin money, just kicked it and into it, off course into a light post. Nuts.
Where does she buy her shoes?
Yeah. What was
Are they heavy? Are her shoes heavy? Does she buy specialty
But we
boots?
know that she's extremely strong from the volleyball episode, but to the degree
she might be extremely strong, but are her shoes extremely strong?
Did they survive the incident?
Did the soles of her shoes hold up? Are they steel toed?
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe. These are good questions. I thought it was so interesting they added a little bit of hint about the handler and their history and past and their family.
It felt good because of the kind of ambiguity of getting the handler coming up with so many scenarios to kind of tell these terrorists why they're just idiot children, basically. Yeah. And we know that she said things that we felt maybe were more attributed toward Lloyd, but I think that we could also possibly attribute some of those to her. And I started thinking of a few of the things she said and how I felt like it fit with the scenario of her having gone through something, but also having had a daughter at some point. And I remember one of the things she said that I knew didn't fit Lloyd, because what happened to Lloyd when he was a kid. Yeah. And she said something about a piece of your lover hanging on the wall. Mm-hmm. And if she had a child, and so that was one of the first kind of imagery that she had given last episode that I immediately was wait, is that something actually from her own past?
Well, what do you feel or think about, I guess, the overall thing they're fighting for, in a sense of we had a really real moment with Lloyd too later in the episode that touched on a similar aspect. This only reminded him this is just a fake piece, right? It's not a real piece, but it seems like there is a way to achieve real peace on a smaller personal scale, even though that the world is at arms. And I don't know. It's
And is there ever going to be true peace that no one is trying to shake?
yeah.
I think there's always, even if there is like maybe like peace between both like countries, you know, there's still going to be people who want to mess it up.
Yeah.
Maybe mess it up for fun, mess it up because they want revenge and they haven't forgiven, you know? People aren't just gonna like stop wanting and having desires that might possibly put other people in danger and or thrive off of that chaos.
Yeah. It really puts I think they could eventually put a really big focus on the decision that Lloyd might inevitably have to make between what he could consider as the greater good and the majority of people, and continue fighting for the greater good in that sense in the war, or at the cost of what's in front of him, that being a woman and child like you were, and you actively choosing to devastate them.
This episode, specifically on that, he's voiced it before that this was all for the mission and this is all for the mission, and they'll go to a point where they don't know each other or they don't live this way anymore. He's already told us that, but it felt different in this episode. Like, I don't know, the feeling, the tone of it felt different. Like, of him being like, I'll make sure to check up on them, but once this is over, like, and I just started imagining like them all being separate, and I was like, why does this feel so much I feel like the first couple times he said it, the feeling that I had when I listened to it was like, oh, haha, yeah, right, you know?
Yeah.
But this time I was like, oh.
So I wouldn't go as far as to say that he was trying to convince himself of that truth, that it's going to end, because I don't think he was there yet. I do, however, think he was reminding himself that that is the reality that he is in and needs to be kept in.
Mm-hmm. But I do think we can also add that he added a layer to the future plan.
Yeah.
Which was he now has these connections and these affections for these people. And I think before, whenever he talked about internally what would have to be done, he never accounted for these feelings that he has for them. And now he is putting to words, even if we were separate, he's basically saying, I would still care about what was happening to them.
He would check in on them. He would keep tabs.
He would want Anya to go to a good family, you know, Mr. Dog with Anya, hopefully.
No, you're so right. And he has everything he needs to do that, right? Presumably. He would have everything he needed and the connections he needed to make sure
the handler.
I
mean, we could even see a scenario where the handler would adopt
But
Anya.
What is going to make it so Lloyd decides to not do that? Inevitably, at the end of the day, I would like to be able to guess that the show is going to end with Lloyd, Anya, and Yor sticking together.
Right. I mean, if there's world peace, if he can avoid this conflict between the two places, why can't he stay? I know he's like, oh, well, I'm a spy and I'd probably be sent on some other wild mission, and that is true.
Do you want him to be with Yor and Anya because his mission is over and then he's going to be with them? Or do you want him to actively choose them over the mission or over attempting at the mission?
I want him to get to the point where the mission is not over, but he cannot see a life without them. And I don't, what if it does come down to that kind of, you know, those scenes where someone's about to get on a plane and leave and you're not going to see them for years.
Yeah.
And the character's running towards them to tell them like they love them or something.
Yeah.
Like it could get to the point where he has completed this mission and he could just walk away. And that's when he like realizes that they have fulfilled everything that he never got to have and always wanted.
Yeah. And I mean, hell, it could be in a sense that like, yes, this mission's over. And then he's like, what made this mission so much more enjoyable? Like I'm going to teach Yor and about how to like make it be a master of disguise, and Anya that too, and forget that Yor might be on an opposing side. We're all going to do this together and be a spy family and go on missions together, you know? Maybe, I don't know.
I think it was named aptly to make us like hope and dream for an inevitable to us hopeful spy family, literal actual family team, which they are kind of working as they're not working as a team, but as individuals, they are all working toward the same goal.
It's not exactly how you envision it.
Yeah. And Yor and Lloyd haven't progressed enough for me romantically.
Agreed.
At the moment. I would say I could definitely see both of them having major issues leaving Anya now at this point.
Yes.
But leaving each other, I wonder if it's like the absent makes the heart grow fonder.
Maybe. I'm not gonna lie, towards the end of the episode, I was like, oh my god, is Yor gonna walk in on Lloyd in the shower?
Or I thought he was gonna come out, with the towel, and she'd be like, oh,
Yeah.
But no, it was just, look at how cute Anya is.
I do think that there is room for Lloyd and Yor to be closer.
Yes, and I'm just, kind of on the edge of my seat. When are you going to, show me more kind of progress with that?
We own the first volume of Spy Family manga. We haven't read it because...
We got it because we were watching the show.
Yeah, and we
thought
inevitably
commemorate the
want
activity.
to complete the series once we've finished it, right?
Mm-hmm.
We want to just collect the series all in all. Is the color of Lloyd's suit the color of the binding on the manga?
It's almost identical. It's very similar. If not the same, it's very similar.
It's interesting. Oh, also, before we... close it out, Damien and Becky's appearance was more than enough. It blew me away. I loved it. I'm so glad that we have them again.
Good performance, guys.
It was great, right?
What do you think about one of the little henchmen getting blushy at Anya's cuteness?
Damien's gonna be pissed.
What if they end up falling for her too? He's gonna be like,
I love, Anya has some of the best faces in TV.
Oh, she was like, I want to tell you my dog's name.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, I guess I could give you that, at least tell me his name.
Yeah.
And then she says it, and he's like, okay, bye.
It's great. Good episode.
And he didn't mean to be mean. You're right, it was a good episode. Okay.
All right, you good?
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we hope to see you next time.
Yes, and I'm just kind of on the edge of my seat. Yes, and I'm just kind of on the edge of my seat. Yes, and I'm just kind of on the edge of my seat.
Yes, and I'm just kind of on the edge of my seat.